quickly cover the second claimed Russian airspace incursion in a week, being a drone having entered then left Romanian airspace from Ukraine, and again claimed to have been from the Russians. Now, the interesting thing here is we tracked it. I don't know if it's the ABC article or one of the other articles, but it talks about it was tracked coming in. Then they struggled to track it once it was in Romania, and then it dropped off radar. It's like, well, hang on, how the hell were you tracking it in the first place? It was presumably in very intermittent contact. So you've already given me doubt as to the reliability of your ability to um, track its path through airspace. If you can't hold on to it when it's in your airspace, how well and how reliable was its position keeping outside, or your position keeping for it outside? Um, and again, it's picked a non um, a non-populated region to hover over before departing. Again, seems a little bit odd, but hey, whatever. Yeah, intercepted, wasn't shot down. It left. Um, Came close to taking out the drone as it left before it left national airspace towards Ukraine. Um, they're not they're F-16s, not Eurofighters. F-16s and two Typhoons were also scrambled. It it said, okay, blaming Russia for everything. Of course, Zelensky sticking his nose in it again and trying to ramp up the rhetoric and further sanctions, tariffs, and collective defense, and this and that. He, it it makes me wonder again the source of the drone. I'm sorry, maybe considered. It's one of those things that yeah, uh, it's it's the experience that's got me to this point, but it looks and smells a little bit off. And I mean, it may be like people say, it can maybe exactly from Russia and everything else, but I've I find this one harder to believe than the Poland one. I mean, the Polish one, there was a added commentary that came out that said it was because the Russian drones had their navigation systems jammed, and as a result were out of control. That happens apparently. So while the intent is yet to be assessed, they've been called a test of readiness and resolve by Moscow. Um, uh, yeah, these are ramped up rhetoric where it's posturing and everything else, but you then come back to there's a statement where basically Trump has said that he believes it may have been a mistake. Now, this supports my assertion that they've probably used alternate channels of communication to indicate that the drones were out of control or they'd lost control or for other reasons they knew that the drones were on their way to enter Polish airspace, and so the Russians had used those alternate channels to let the US know or to let appropriate agencies know, and therefore the news was passed on, which then goes to explain why, whilst they deactivated military aircraft in response, why they'd shut the airspace of the civilian airfields, etc., it it explains why there was this response preceding the drones entering airspace, yet every other day that the drones are flying around, nothing had happened. They'd not had the same level of response, given even though the drones are very, very close to airspace and everything else, which implies that there was additional communication, additional knowledge of what was going on, why it was going on, and therefore an appropriate response. The fact they were then shot down and stuff, not a problem. I don't think anyone really had an issue with that. But the lead up actions suggest a decent amount of prior knowledge, and not just prior knowledge in this particular instance, but being able to discriminate between this actual incursion and routine drone activity during the conflict in Ukraine. People may not see the difference here, but there is quite a big difference in terms of posturing, reaction, and everything else, which is indicative of there being separate comms channels or some means for that information to be adequately transferred, ignoring the rhetoric of Zelensky and the rest. The other alternate thing is that it was done by the other reason that you could say it was known about and responded to in such a way is that it was done by somebody who then told you it's going to be here and is being done to antagonize the situation. Now, speculation about who did it is just that. The fact is that these aircranes entered airspace, did things, and got shot down or crashed or left. So, yeah, Trump's come out and said he believes it was an accident. And so I dare say he's probably had a phone call from somebody to say, look, this is what's happened. We didn't mean it. But it doesn't match up with the rhetoric that other people are pushing. And yeah, it doesn't help. There is. I mean, I can go and find random people at random institutions to make stupid claims and have them published too. Doesn't mean they're right. So yeah, there is. I don't think it's in this article, but it's in. There is suggestion that yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've seen how easy it is for people to be declared experts on things. Uh, yeah, I doubt. I don't think so. I don't think so. Right. Next thing. Um, so there's the other article talking about Romanian things. I think this is the one that talked about the difficulty tracking. And again, you'd be looking at, well, how did it get all the way down there, do what it did, and then leave? So, okay, so it was detected, again, reading only what is written, it implies that it was not necessarily detected coming in, how it got in, etc. And oh, okay, first time I've seen something even remotely suggesting that the Ukrainians are carrying out attacks in Russia and that they've been done by drone attacks, etc. So it's it gives me a headache, really. That's why I try not to read too much of these stories. And its rhetoric goes around in circles. It hasn't really changed much in the last few years. And I mean, you look at where it is compared to Ukrainian territory. Who's surprised? Really, really.